First one was Hanumankind, and I remember watching this and you were talking about the tune, right? Like, what is it about the tune that works?
Wait a minute, get it how you live it.
The second one was about hearing loss. Then the third one was I got hate comments because of my Indian accent. None of these ideas are something that you would find somewhere. They're ungoogleable. How do you find your ideas?
I would say consumption is very important. Having free time is very important. Having brain that is lazy at times is very important.
Can you remember the first time that you went viral on social media?
At that point of time, I had never seen anything like that. This guy would randomly send me text, bro 2000, bro 5000, bro 10,000, stuff like that. One of the leaders of Xiaomi,
Right.
bald guy.
Is he Xiaomi India ka head? Dude,
Kya?
he retweeted your video.
And also like,
Dude, what?
wrote something on top.
You're genuinely one of my inspirations in storytelling, right? Is that self-taught, or like what did you do to get to a point where you're so good at telling stories?
If I'm listening to a song, I will try and make a music video out of it in my head. That kind of made me just get used to the fact that I can paint a picture on a blank wall.
How important is it to have people around you who are doing something similar?
Oh, very important. It's a very lonely process because sometimes you just lose the plot.
Can you remember the first time that you went viral on social media?
Very recent.
Very
very recent, my God. I started, there have been lots of like ups and downs in my YouTube trajectory in terms of how consistent I've been in a way. Last July, late July, August, I thought let's try and do this thing with a lot of consistency, with a lot of effort, a lot of time for 3 or 4 months and treat it like a full-time job in a way. And I think a few months later, one of my videos about Hanumankind kind of hit the limelight somehow. Right
Not kind of, it hit like it's. I have it here. It has 40,000 views and like it was massive.
At that point of time, I had never seen anything like that. Before that, I remember a few videos that had gotten 1,000 views, 2,000 views, something like that. But they were slow progressing. This was the first time wherein I realized, people are watching it and are making me realize that, hey, I am watching it. Which is very different.
It feels...
it feels weird. It feels like, thank you very much. मैं क्या करूँ इसका? लेकिन I don't know. How do I reciprocate? I'm very awkward like that. So that was...
But I remember I was one of those people. Like I saw his video when it first came out.
Yeah.
It had a couple thousand views. And then I remember every time like I was refreshing and then it was like doubling.
5,000.
And for like... over the course of a week, it went to like whatever 30, 40, and I was just like, dude, what the fuck? Every like 2 days, I was texting him saying, hey, did you see views?
This guy, my God, he would text me, and I don't usually
check stats.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है कि check नहीं करता हूँ, but I don't usually indulge a lot. I just check every now and then. सब ठीक है ना, किसी ने गाली तो नहीं दी, all of those things, stuff like that. But
चैनल तो नहीं बैन हो गया, पता चले खोलो यार, खुल ही नहीं रहा, चैनल ही नहीं है.
हाँ, तो all of those things
And
I
it's easier now for that to happen.
This guy, like notification, some bot or something, would randomly send me text, bro 2000, bro 5000, bro 10,000, stuff like that. And I was on Twitter also at that point of time.
Right.
And I don't remember. I'm very bad with names. So Xiaomi, one of the leaders of Xiaomi, bald guy. I should not be saying this. But okay.
Oh, is he Xiaomi India ka head? Dude, fuck off.
क्या?
He retweeted your video.
And also like,
dude, what?
Wrote something on top. And I'm very bad at these things. So this is my general thing. I don't like understand when people are being nice on social media especially. And when they were, I have to like deploy resources, which is like friends in corporate. Ki, please, they are my ChatGPT personal. They're like, hello bhai, please let me know how do I write this. इस बंदे को मुझे, I just have to tell him thank you. But thank you just by itself is very insincere. how do I do it? And then they will give it like some nice
They'll chat GPT.
maska laga ke circle back thing. I don't know,
Right.
whatever corporate lingo.
Huh.
And then I will just copy paste that thing, but with good intention. Ki thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's what I want to clear,
Huh.
Mr. Manu Kumar sir. I had good intentions. I just don't know how to intend with my words, with my skill set, with my vocabulary.
Right.
So that was that, and that happened with a lot of other people as well. Whatever this was happening, it was quite intense, but I did not understand the intensity very well. My editor who was helping me out, Shirish, this guy, and other people around me, they were like, 35,000, all of those things. And I was happy with the fact that people were watching it. Elementary things that I like, one of those things. I still have problem with understanding, comprehending and segregating genuine comments with comments ki, acha iske pehle they have also given 70 good comments, I will also give one more good comment just to join the clan, sort of like that.
Right.
These are all like social dynamics that people do on social media. I don't understand that. I do not indulge in that. It's as simple as that. I think I've said that a few more times than I would have liked, but in any case.
But overall, what was that experience like of going viral essentially?
It was very underwhelming than what I thought it would be in my head, just because of the fact that I did not understand the enormity of what was happening to me at that point of time, or what it could lead to eventually, in a way. When the third video after that popped off, third or fourth video, whatever it was, it felt bizarre in a way that video did not take off in the first instance. After 7 days, it took off and then never stopped. This guy was constantly messaging. I still have messages from like, bro, 150K, 180K, 200K. And then he also stopped at 250K. Because he was also like, then because I was not replying. Like, what am I supposed to reply in this case?
हाँ bro, हो रहा है बस.
Confirm, can confirm. What am I supposed to reply to this? I have no idea. I think I'm supposed to reciprocate the excitement that he's feeling in that sense.
Right.
But no, I did not understand that, because after a few, that first thing, that Hanumankind thing happened, no. Initially, I liked the fact that I was getting attention, validation, whatever you want to call it. But when that died down, that second video, when it hit jackpot or whatever, I did not. It did not make me feel a lot emotionally, is what I would say.
You become normalized to it very quickly.
It's weird, because I was also thinking, in between there have been 2 videos that have not done very well, 2 or 3 videos. But my objectivity towards my videos is not getting skewed by this, ye bahut bada hai, ye bahut chota hai, us type se. We used to tweak a few things every now and then, like what worked, why this worked, all of those things we used to analyze, and we were trying to make a balance of what we want to make and how to play the game of the algorithm,
Right.
in that sense. So we kind of realized ki, theek hai, it's okay, whatever we have done it twice, but 2 times can still be lucky. We have to do it at least once more to be able to understand, okay, there's something with us, within us, that is enabling us to do this. And that is when one of my later videos also popped off. This is happening in like 2.5 months.
Yes.
2.5 months or something like that.
Right.
I think a couple of things that I would want to highlight to the people listening. If you're new here, the podcast is about not just making content, but also we'll get into like the money part of things also. And the things that are behind the scenes of the views that you see on the screen that no one talks about. But the first part is that I think going viral is very is lucrative on the surface, that like everyone is like, yo, 1 million views. But the irony is that once you get it, right, it's just a number. You become normalized to it very, very quickly. Like it means nothing. And after a point, it's like you start comparing yourself to your, at least that's how I work. Like, let's say my most viewed video that I have personally made is, I think, around like 20 million views, right? I will always use that as a benchmark for all of my other videos. And viral videos are by definition an outlier. Yeah. So then there is that inherent sense of unhappiness that comes from looking at just that number. That's one. Second is, I think making content online is a very parasocial relationship. Like if you think about it, Sapiens has a very interesting paragraph on this. It says that the human body is not meant to be around so many people. Like if you think about it, we're all 25, 30 years old. How many people have you physically been around intimately? Right? Like I would define this as an intimate setting, right? We're friends, we know each other, we're spending like long amounts of time with each other.
Yeah.
How many people? It's not more than a couple hundred.
Bro, like 100 is also in my lifetime, maybe.
It'll be probably like 200, maybe
Yeah.
300 if you're like an
Yeah.
extroverted person.
Yeah.
On the internet, like you are putting that camera right next to your face, and essentially I am like a couple feet away from you, right? Like Casey, I feel like I know Casey very intimately. Maybe he's not divulging that much of his life, but I feel like I know his son. I've seen his son go from when he was young, going to Vietnam, to then going to college, and then I remember he was working in some McDonald's, and Casey was. So I've seen that entire trajectory. That's not normal. Millions of people knowing that much about you and you knowing nothing about them, that's not normal at all. That's very parasocial. So I think that aspect of it makes it very, very weird, honestly, right? Like when I first went viral, one of the reasons why I just could not manage is because like I couldn't understand how to deal with it, right? Like how do you deal with people coming up to you on the street and saying that, hey, I know you? And I'm like, dude, fuck off, man. Like how? I don't, bro, like मैं normal लोगों से बात नहीं कर पाता, तुम randomly मेरे पास it's very, like, it's very bizarre. Not to say that you're ungrateful about it, but it's like you just like, it's not normal.
You're grateful, but you don't know what to do.
Yeah, like it's
like,
very
how can I
difficult to
show
digest.
gratefulness, man? Like,
It's
thank
very
you, bye.
difficult to digest. I mean, I'll ask you this, of like, if you were to go back a couple of months, knowing what you know now, let's say 3 months ago, knowing that, hey, like, this is what can happen from your videos, what would you do differently?
Nothing. I'm very happy with what I did after those 3 videos hit. I experimented because I know I had a bank of views that I could market
Right.
after that. Hey, Mr. Sponsor, I have 500k views in 3 months, 4 months, something like that. That works apparently. So that gave me an opportunity to do whatever I wanted, which I'll always grab. So my next 3 videos after those videos were very experimental. If you see those 3 videos, that was more along the lines of, let's just see what we can do with this. How do we make this? What kind of topics can we explore in a way? And they were about, one of them was like a very sit down type of podcast sort of a thing, wherein I was trying to explain a problem to somebody who was sitting with me. And in a way that was a representation of the audience, and there was a back and forth, a dialogue. A format that we had not tried before, but we wanted to. Will this work? Will this not work? How interesting it is? And how can we integrate it if we like it? Something like that. After that, I wanted to do something which was a lot more playful in a way. Like the topic was not very important, but at the same time it was kind of just interesting enough. Like, hey, why is this happening?
What was the topic?
Why is New York Police Department in Singapore? Why?
Just
It's a New York Police Department.
Hmm.
It should not also be in California. Why is it in Singapore? What is happening? So I flew to Singapore. When I went down the rabbit hole, I realized that it's not just in Singapore, Australia, it's in a lot more countries. So I was like, okay, time to visit Australia via Singapore. So that's what I did.
Right.
And I went to those places. I tried to find where they are. And Singapore, I realized during my research, they have moved out from there due to budgetary reasons, whatever. In Australia, but they were still there in Sydney. So I went, documented, gave them the story of what happened, how it
Crazy,
happened.
bro. I
all
did
of
not
those
know
things.
that.
Yeah, but see, this is what I wanted to do always if I get limelight. I will not double down. I'm sorry.
बस यही double down है.
I will try and make it as whatever I have in my head as real as it can be, rather than me being, okay, AirPods पे एक video चला, let's make another one on AirPods. Find different angle from it. I don't do that. If I find a very interesting angle, I will do that. That's not saying कि it's out of scope कि अरे sacrilege. No, nothing like that. It's just कि
It needs to be something that piques your curiosity.
and it has to be something that that can be how do I say, a little, it scratches the particular itch in a way. And
How do you find those ideas?
that is a very
Like
strange question. For
I'll
me.
just read for the audience. We'll put it on the screen also. But the three videos
We'll
that you
just-
mentioned that went viral was
we'll just categorize these videos.
So the first
That'll
one
help
was
them understand.
first one was Hanumankind, and I remember watching this, and you were talking about the tune, right? Like, what is
Yeah.
it about the tune that works? Then the second one was about like hearing loss, and it was about AirPods. Then the third one was I distinctly remember it because of the thumbnail. It has top G, and it says, "I bet it smells like curry," right?
Yeah.
And the video is, "I got hate comments because of my Indian accent."
Yeah.
None of these ideas are something that you would find somewhere, right? Hanumankind, sure, he was viral, but this is more of like a Reddit rabbit hole than I would expect someone to be like, oh, I read it in this class and it just so happens that I noticed in this viral song. But none of these ideas are things that you can Google. You can't Google them,
Right.
right? They're ungoogleable.
Not SEO friendly.
Yes, they are ungoogleable. And I say this because even the videos that I make are often exactly this, right? Like I find ideas that you can't find elsewhere, or I found in reading some book, one line, then you go into Wikipedia rabbit hole, you read papers, and then you realize, oh my God, there's a story here that no one's talking about. But the thing that I face, the challenge that I face doing this commercially, is that you have to find ideas. But it's a paradox because there's no way to find ideas.
these ideas.
It's like you cannot predict that, hey, if I do these 3 steps, I'll get a good idea, right? So oftentimes it is picking ideas that have already worked, and basically I'm just making a video that's already existed.
Repackaging.
Yeah, like the latest video I have, sofa one, that hit 20K in like 24 hours, which is good. But I don't honestly feel the best about it because I saw it in some Reddit thread, right? So it's not like, it's not perfectly novel, to be honest. It's repurposed, right? To whatever extent. Okay, I did my own research, but still repurposed. The true ideas to me for our niche comes from that one insight that you found somewhere that made you go, oh my God, really? Like I remember I want to make this one video about, we're in Bangalore, right? So Bangalore has a lot of gulmohar trees. Gulmohar trees are actually invasive.
Right.
They are not native to Bangalore. And I know this because I went to this snake retreat. It was a reptile retreat where we went hunting snakes, not hunting, like we went trying to find snakes.
Find snakes.
Yeah,
not
it's
hunting
called
snakes.
it's called herping. It's like a thing, okay? Like Google it. It's called herping, where you go to find reptiles. And this guy who was like a reptile researcher, he just casually, he was talking about all the species that are invasive, and he was like, oh, by the way, similarly gulmohar. And I was like, wait, what? Like gulmohar trees are invasive? So they come. My point is that these ideas are non-obvious, right? And they're ungoogleable. So how do you find your ideas? Is it just like you read a lot, or like what is your thought process to identify them?
I would say consumption is very important. Having free time is very important. Having a brain that is lazy at times is very important. And just being, how do I say, obsessed with something. If you find dimag mein keeda, stick with it. You'll find something around it. For example, when I got the hate comment video, I saw the hate comment and I was like, why? What is happening in this case? It was like 2 or 3 comments. It was not many, to be honest. But I just somehow
Just stuck.
Yeah. I don't know why. And I started just looking for what's happening in that case. Also, all social media platforms are trained to help you find those things anyway. If you look for it once, you'll be there indefinitely forever. So I started getting videos about scammers. Started getting videos about hate around Indian people in the rest of the world, or rather in the West world mostly, primarily because of scammers and all of those things. And I also got videos about accents, but not Indian accents. It was more about Japanese accents and South Asian accents, wherein they switch a few. The West tried to mock those accents in a way. Especially VOX made a great video. And apart from that, I always try and take a deeper look after I get like a overview of how things are into one of those aspects. So where should I indulge myself into? What should I make the direction of this video? Should it be about scammers? Should it be about accents? Or should it be about something third in that way. Whatever the gut feeling comes along with whatever research I could find on it, both academic and also on published media, I will then take a creative call. This is what I want to do, which happened to be accents. So interestingly, also in this video of accents, the expert that I have, Dr. Eleanor, she was in that video from VOX where they were talking about the Japanese accent in that case. My video is also a culmination of a few things that I've observed. How much do you borrow? What do you borrow is up to you. How do you present it is also very critical to what your voice is, what your taste is in a way. And for example, the video about New York Police Department in Singapore, I remember watching one video from a channel called Half As Interesting.
I've seen it.
I don't really watch it much, but I have seen Half As Interesting a few times because it's the guy who makes Wendover Productions.
Correct.
Sam something.
Yeah.
I don't remember his full name, sorry. So that video already exists. But now I am curious as to why this is happening. And something in that video is like, okay, this is not
the complete story.
Not something that I would like to agree with in a way. Maybe there's something more. So I try and do that also. So that is now very heavily derived from there in a way. So I have a spectrum of how much do you derive, how much do you don't derive, all of those things. And I don't find personally it to be a good thing or a bad thing. As long as you have something of your own to say in that thing. It's been told 1,000 times, it will be told 1,000 times more. As long as you have your own voice in whatever thing that you are trying to say, like I'm saying right now, it's going to work. It's going to be effective. As simple as that. The same goes with, this is the reason why remakes exist. Culturally adaptable things exist.
I think that's a very interesting balance, right? Because even when I look at, let's say, like a VOX video, VOX is like, it's God for us, right? Or at least for me, where that's where it all, that's the holy grail, that's where it started.
Right.
I often find myself wondering, even that entire genre of, let's say, science, video essays / science videos /
Science journalism.
Science journalism.
Yeah.
Like you have VOX and Tom Scott and Veritasium and all these other people, Vsauce. They have, like I remember, I've seen this Veritasium video about micro mouse.
Micro mouse, yeah.
Have you seen that video? There's a video about micro mouse. So it's this mouse that can, like, there like paths on the floor, and the mouse is like a robot that people make themselves, and it just has to travel the entire path from start to finish, and it's like a complicated path.
Okay.
And you need to add sensors and things, and you have to figure out a way for it to read the thing and travel the fastest. And he has like a 30-minute video on it, and it's the best video I have ever seen on YouTube. One of the best videos by far. Tom Scott, he made a video about how the views on the video is in the title. Like the title is being dynamically changed to have, like, this video has views, and that views is same as the actual views. It is just incredible, and it's a massively viral video, right? So my question is, and we've talked about this a little, my question is ki, how do they think of these ideas? Because it's a very fine line between something that will work, and it is such a deep rabbit hole that no one can expect that video will go viral.
No, I'm not sure they want to go for virality with that sort of a content. They want to present whatever they have in terms of their findings.
But then why does it go viral? Because it goes viral consistently.
But I cannot comment. I've only had 3 videos that are semi-viral in that
but
sense. But I'll tell you what I think of it. I just feel that interesting topics always have that latent potential of being able to catch fire in a way. It's just that if you package it in a way that can suit the algorithm or whatever the gods are, in a sense, you might be able to do well with it. But how do you do that? What skill sets do you need? Still figuring it out. I don't really know that. But like in films, story is everything. Story is king. On YouTube, the game is about content. Your content is still king. I'm not talking about like kids YouTube or something like that. I'm talking about people who watch YouTube with the sake of, I'm investing my time into this. I hope I get something from it. I'm not talking about that audience. For them, content will still be something that they will be attracted towards in a way. And unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to say, it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And that kind of takes away from the whole, the magic of being able to dive deep into the content. In 60 seconds, if you want to present something that is that took you 6 months to do, it's going to be tough.
But you're clearly, you're genuinely one of my inspirations in storytelling, right? Is that self-taught, or what did you do to get to a point where you're so good at telling stories?
Okay, I can tell you what I did that influences my style of stories. For example, if I'm listening to a song, I will try and make a music video out of it in my head. Thought experiment, visual exercise, whatever you want to call it, you can say that. And that kind of made me become a very, just practice my imagination muscle to such a point that I can now visualize very weird things also. That kind of made me just get used to the fact that I can paint a picture on a blank wall with just rhythm into it. So most of my videos that I have made, I think the strongest suit that I consider is the music that I use in my videos. And that there's a rhythm to my videos more often than not. That is the only compliment that I feel that I will accept about my videos, nothing else in that sense. And that comes from this trait that I have. Why do I have this trait? Because I've always been fascinated by films. In the beginning, it was mostly just Bollywood films. And then came Christopher Nolan and other directors. I was exposed to more world cinema. So other kinds of films as well, other kinds of palettes as well. But I was always this main character person who was listening to music and imagining myself being the music video ka hero, as simple as that. And wahan se somehow, with consumption, it kind of fine-tuned itself into this whatever version that I have right now on YouTube. How do I put whatever I have in my head onto a camera, onto a laptop, onto YouTube? That's the pipeline. So it started with dimag ka exercise. Then it kind of went with more consumption, became more polished. And now I'm more comfortable with the way that I'm able to make videos in that sense. And I'm not saying comfortable just because of the way that I talk now or way that I am in front of the camera, how do I look, all of those things. But comfortable in terms of, okay, I'm able to replicate what I have in my head with a lot of efficiency. It's very similar to what I have in my head. Very rarely now I have content that I put out that is not very similar to what I had in my head, which is
you're able to visualize something and then execute on it very effective.
That is the
delta between it is very small.
It took a long time, 4 years, 5 years, maybe
to develop that sort of vision. But now it's easy.
To develop that, not that vision, to develop that ability to exercise that thing.
To make it. To think it is one thing, but to actually make it like you thought it is.
Right.
Thinking it was more natural.
Right.
Getting the skill set, getting the practice to be able to put it on paper, on medium or whatever it is, was the time
those 4 or 5 years went in understanding execution of how this is going to happen.
So the vlogs that I did not never published, all of those things.
Right.
Then my initial few videos wherein I was very timid, trying to act very mysterious and cool, all of those things. So
did you think you were mysterious and cool?
I always think I'm mysterious and cool. Excuse me.
But how many videos do you think you've made till date? Do you have a brief, rough count?
150, 200 videos.
I think especially for music, right? Since you mentioned that you have that taste, and I 100% agree. Was there any moment, any piece of media, it could be a movie, it could be a song or whatever, that you saw and that greatly influenced your taste in music in the origin days?
I can't pinpoint one thing. It was an accumulation of years and years of listening to Bollywood music, English music. I say English music because that is what I used to call it back in the day. There was no genre. There was English music.
There's Kannada music. There's
Yeah,
Tamil music.
I'm
and
sorry.
It's Bollywood.
I was not very sophisticated back then, but whatever. So, no, it was just an accumulation of me trying to understand how different kinds of music dictate what I was visualizing in my head, differentiating that, and just playing different scenarios in my head. So I cannot pinpoint one thing. It was just being very obsessed with watching films, listening to music, all of those things. Yeah.
Because both of you guys do like a very science-driven approach to your videos. I want to understand how the process looks like when we are being actionable. So, like, okay, what does the first part of the process look like? You mentioned consumption. Consumption is the first thing that will happen.
Take
What
us
are
through
you
the
guys-
life cycle of a video.
Yes. What are you guys consuming exactly? It's just random things or
Like, how do you get to the idea? How did you find the idea? What did you do after it until like the end when you put out the video? What does the life cycle of your video look like?
Finding the problem is the most important thing for me.
Right.
And if you are observant enough, I don't think finding a problem is a problem in general.
But when do you know you have found the problem?
No, there are so many problems.
But
Always.
whatever
And
resonates with you.
So it's always about, for me, it's more often than not, I will not say always, it's more often than not about going with your gut. This is a good problem. This is a problem that should be tackled. Few categories of problems in a way. And it also depends on what kind of objective we are trying to achieve with our problem. So, for example, we are going to start very soon the new season, and we're going to publish like 6 or 7 videos now. And we've been trying to tackle problems which have actual worldly effects, things that people should actually be concerned about. So a little more serious. So we changed the format. We're changing the format a little bit towards a more documentary approach, making it a little more serious, a little more clinical, and bringing in more experts, all of those things, and making it a full-time production sort of a thing. But before that, I've also taken very pesky topics, sitting on flight, and just realizing why is everybody standing all of a sudden, getting their bellies and backs stuck together, just to depart.
But that's such an abstract idea, right? Like, that's not something that you're like, why do people stand? Like,
No, that's not an abstract idea. Is it an abstract idea? I don't know.
To me, that seems like such an abstract idea.
It can be.
Okay, once you think of that idea, what do you do next? Like, how do you go about?
So first, that idea comes just by, why are you doing this? Why is everybody standing? What is happening? How much are you actually saving? The spiral. Let yourself get down a rabbit hole. It is fine. You will get out of it. No problem. Just close the lid of your laptop. You're out of it. It's as simple as that. But I sometimes let a few problems linger. If that lingers for long enough, I go back, double down on the rabbit hole, and I continue doing that.
So you have a bunch of questions.
So
you just sit on those questions for some time, and whatever sticks the most, then you go with it.
Yeah. And I have like some very random bullshit questions also. Like, for example, if you buy like jeans, why does it always rip from the crotch? Why nowhere else?
Great question.
Why is it happening that way? See, it's not a great question, but it is a question that I was like frustrated with. Like, what is happening, man? It's also embarrassing. And then I kind of realized that, okay, this is happening because of my particular stature, of how long my legs are. And usually my pants don't fit me very well. Question ends, answer ends, okay, no video on this, something like that. Okay? But jeans, when I was researching jeans, which is such a weird sentence, I also kind of realized that women don't have jeans pockets.
Correct.
Now that is a good question. So while trying to figure out this question, I found another question. That's how it usually happens. And now that is a more interesting question.
Why do they not have pockets?
Why do you not have pockets? Why are women's pockets a rip-off? That sends me down another rabbit hole, which is a more sensible rabbit hole that can be put up on YouTube, on all of those things, and people might watch it. They might not watch my crotch ka chhed, but they will watch probably this in that case. So no question is stupid. No question is out of bounds. Every question is a question. Approach it with that integrity, and you will end up with either the answer or another question or something else.
The subreddit explain it like I'm 5 is my favorite that way. Is that you just have to ask questions as if you're a 5-year-old. But do you find one of the biggest challenges that I have is that regardless, I just opened my like bank of ideas, right? So I'll just share questions that like led nowhere, because that's a big problem, because something can be interesting. Like for example, why is Hollywood called Hollywood? Right? Everything else is named after Hollywood.
Correct.
But why is Hollywood called Hollywood? Now I was like, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I started off with why is Bollywood called Bollywood? Because of Bombay. Then
अच्छा बॉलीवुड का नाम किधर से आया?
हाँ, that came from Hollywood. So like, why is Hollywood called? There was no answer. It was like some stupid answer, right?
Right.
So that was like a dead end. So oftentimes you might have ideas, but they are dead ends, right? So for example, I heard this theory. You might find it interesting. Hitler had this obsession with Antarctica, okay, and he wanted to call it New Schwabenland. Right? So there was this conspiracy that Hitler had like a secret base in Antarctica where like he would escape or something.
Whatever.
So I read in some conspiracy subreddit or some passing line in some book, and I went down this rabbit hole, and it turned up nothing. Right? I tried searching, like nothing concrete was coming out, right? So that was something that on surface you're like, oh, Hitler, Antarctica, great idea.
True.
But it's like a purple cow, right? So this guy Seth Godin has this idea called a purple cow, right? That if you're going on the road and you see a field and it's a field of cows, all the cows are white and black, so nothing stands out. But in the middle, if you see a purple cow, it'll immediately stand out. So my filter in my head is that, is this a purple cow? Like, is this something that's so non-obvious that will work? Because if it's non-obvious to me, that is my first filter, that it will be non-obvious to my audience as well, right? So for me, the biggest frustration is that you can't validate ideas before you get them, right? Because inherently you have to go down the rabbit hole and then you have to realize, okay, this rabbit hole is too short, like there's nothing here, right?
There's no depth.
Yeah, there's no depth. So once you get the idea, you do the research. Is there anything that you do specifically in the research to find, like, is there like certain websites that you go to? Or is there like a process that you have for your research before you get to the script?
Okay, before that, I'll just comment on one thing. One tendency that I've seen from whatever you've said right now is that you get married to an idea.
Correct.
In a way.
Correct.
I never do that. An idea is an idea. Don't give it too much importance. And you just, if you don't find a rabbit hole, figure out why you're not finding a rabbit hole. That's another rabbit hole. I'm sorry, I might sound very stupid at this moment, but that is okay.
No, it makes sense, yeah. It definitely, like,
At least to us, it makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Sometimes I literally just go on Wikipedia and I click on every link and I just like go through all the tabs and you find interesting
so
shit.
it's there is always a why. More often than not, there's a why, and it's all about how strongly do you feel to indulge in that as such. Now coming back to the fact about how I use my resources, it's very simple. Back when I used to be in my research job, I had access to a lot of research databases, and I wanted, like, my job was anyways about like reading papers and findings and all of those things. So it was just like an extension of my job. Like over time, I'm working on this. Not that big of a deal. Since we are self-taught, no, that is why these discoveries are like great for us.
Yeah.
True.
But if you do a journalism course, I'm pretty sure the
Somebody
first thing
will-
that they teach you is
that's like
Hey,
go to
on
these
the board,
resources.
Like, go.
go to AP. Why are you
Struggling.
Why are you struggling with this, bro?
Google. Why are you fighting Google over?
Plus, I think most of these things are not, like you said, SEO friendly.
No.
So, like, even if you search for news clippings from whatever, it won't turn up. So,
Yeah,
it's
these
very
are-
specific knowledge. You need to know to go there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's being gatekept or whatever,
Mm.
but these are very legacy things
Yeah.
that has been taught to a lot of people who have actually gone through a formal education on these things that we are trying to emulate in a way,
Yeah.
or do our own thing, make our own thing of that in a sense.
I think that's a very interesting point because I definitely want to talk to someone from VOX. Like Phil Edwards is on my radar because he's the closest. But I want to, and I think that is partly the reason why they're able to make the videos that they are, because they are journalists.
Yes.
Like we are from the outside, we're like, oh, बहुत interesting, like, but to
Yes.
them it is like that is their life. That is how they think.
Yeah. I think thinking doesn't come with a label, but to be able to execute that thinking does help if you have a label. Because let's say you have 1,000 subscribers, people will not answer your emails. Hey, come to my interview. They will be like, whatever. 10,000 subscribers, a few people.
Yeah,
1 million subscribers. Can I be on your interview, on your podcast or something like that? So there is value attached to all of these things, which are inherently just labels. If you are an official journalist from a very reputed publication,
like Times of India or something.
Times of India, VOX, New York Post, whatever you want to call it. If you're a legacy format ka banda or bandi, whatever, you will have resources.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, because there have been people before you who have put in the
Established
hours,
that.
established the whole thing. So
I have
you
no
just
qualms
have-
against that.
Yeah.
If you are playing it by yourself, on it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
I mean, you picked to play the game, so
I think that's a very
Yeah, no
interesting
compromise.
this thing, because I mean, obviously everyone at Vox is a journalist. The guy at Veritasium is like a PhD. He's a teacher, I think, right?
He's a PhD in
Derek.
science communication.
Yeah. Then Tom Scott. What is Tom Scott's background?
I think Tom Scott has been media trained somewhere in BBC or something like that.
Right. Yeah, he talks like that.
I am deriving this from his way of presentations and all of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one group of people that are not as media trained are like the scientists that we talk about, open source.
That,
William William Osman.
Osman, I Did a Thing.
I Did a
Nile
Thing.
Red.
Boy. These are all Australia. Then
Nile Red.
Neil Red. Yeah. Then Michael Reeves.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I
all
don't
of
know
these
some
guys
of
are
these
just are literally scientists, and they're like they're literally just having fun.
Yeah.
Literally just having fun. How important is it to have people around you who are doing something similar?
Oh, very important. It's a very lonely process making videos like this, especially if you're going down rabbit holes and all of those things, because sometimes you just lose the plot. What is happening? Why am I here?
Right.
It happens.
Yeah.
And it's important for you to have people that you can, oh, I did this today, I understood this today, just bounce it off. And you never know, okay, so he's telling me something about that thing that I was researching.
thinking about. Yeah.
Another stream of thoughts. I can go over there, something like that.
Yeah.
It is of immense help to have people you can just bounce ideas
Ideas
around
off.
with.
So let's talk a little more actionable now, right? So let's say you have achieved a certain level of success on YouTube with, let's say, the algorithm and your reach and views and idea selection, all of that. If let's say you were to boil everything down that you have learned throughout the course of you making content and now figuring out what works to a certain extent, and if you were to boil it down to, let's say, 2-3 different rules, right? Mental models. कि यार इतना कर लो हो जाएगा. What would they be?
Also, just to add on this, how okay, this is the rule, and how do you validate that you're achieving this rule? That'll also be great.
Validation is very simple. You just keep doing it.
Okay.
The
Oh,
system
for
will
all-
validate for you.
Okay.
And don't put too much pressure on one video for it to perform.
Okay.
This has to work. That is not
The case.
how content works. I'm sorry.
Got it.
You have no control over what works or what doesn't work. It's not the same as it used to be in 2015. And that brings me to my first, as a big headline which I have in my head, which I recently learned, कि subscribers are not as important as they used to be for growth on YouTube. I don't know why that happened or what was the case, but earlier when Casey Neistat used to post vlogs, the reason that he would amass so many numbers very consistently, and very consistent numbers, was not because the algorithm was favoring him. It was the way that algorithm was tuned, which was if people subscribe, you will see his video. Now I am subscribed to very few people in the grand scheme of things. I have only 70 subscriptions. But
And you still don't see their videos.
I hold them very close to my heart
Huh.
in a way that Yeah, subscriptions are something that I have given them permission to be on my feed, in a way. But they don't appear on my feed. So I have stopped subscribing altogether. I just watch the video. I just watch the video. Sometimes if they ask, how did you like the video? I give 5 stars. Very good. Thank you very much. All of those things.
Right.
You should also do that, everybody who's watching. If they ask you, how was the video? Give 5 stars. But whatever. In any case, the thing was, I realized after a few videos that subscribers don't really matter, especially after the first Hanumankind video. I could have gone into the mindset of, oh, now more people will watch. That did not happen. After another big video, okay, now my baseline is different. That also did not happen. It grew a little bit, but that will grow anyway if you're consistent enough. So yeah, that was my first thing that I kind of realized, that subscribers are not as important as people make it to be, especially over here. What is more important is how do you make this piece of content as good as possible. Everything that you make has to create a bit of a spark somewhere, somehow. At least that should be your intention. You can't control it, but that should be your intention in my head. And if you want to play a more strategic game, do the whole doubling down thing, all of those things. I don't do that, but it works, obviously. Second thing that I realized is packaging is very critical.
Define packaging.
Packaging is essentially title, thumbnail at first, and then the first 20-30 seconds, and then how does the rest of the video adhere to those first 20-30 seconds in a way. And that is all very critical because of the fact that it dictates a lot of your early success when you do not have people to watch you. So thumbnail title is essential, something that we still haven't really figured out how to do consistently. We have a thing, some intuition and all those things, but we do not have a methodology of what to follow. But we know that thumbnail title should be agreeing with whatever the hook is. Otherwise, it's going to be tricky to hold people to watch the rest of the video. If you get them through the first few seconds, chances are very likely that they're gonna stay for a bit longer in that sense. So the graph that you get for the view duration thing as to how, when and where people are dropping off, it's better that you have a very high percentage watching for the first few seconds in that sense. That's what we have discovered that helps. And when we see that, we realize, oh, so this means good title thumbnail which agrees with the hook. So make title thumbnail that agrees with the hook, that is job half done for packaging. And then controlling the rest of the video is also part of the job, but you can be a little more lenient in that.
Okay. When you say high percentage, how high?
That's a very niche dependent thing.
What would you say?
I'll tell you, because I've talked to a lot of people from different types of niches, and it's very different for different YouTubers. So if it's a tech YouTube channel, it's a very different metric for them. If for us, like if it's a science YouTube channel, science-based YouTube channel, I would say, we have had as high as 85% for the first 30-35 seconds. We've had as low as 45% as well. And I'm talking about both of these videos that have worked. So you can't just pinpoint one thing and be like, tick mark, this is viral. Not going to happen.
Right.
But we try and put it in between that bracket.
Got it. So it's a compounded thing. It's like this. And
everything
this,
is
so
compounding.
Nothing
is individualistically important. But
got it.
Together
it should work.
It should work in a way.
So making good videos, packaging. What's number 3?
Number 3, I would say, I'm not talking from the perspective of somebody who's still trying to make it on the YouTube scene, is to create as many splashes in the water per se, which is make content as much as you can. And if it means not being able to produce the same level of content for all of your videos, it's okay. Some of my not so good produced videos have also worked well then in comparison to some of my well produced videos in that sense. It's a subjective thing. So just trying early when you don't have an audience. If you see that you're not subscribed versus subscribed is heavily skewed towards not subscribed. You don't have an audience.
Correct.
You're still figuring things out. So until that comes a little more balanced, just say mine is like 90% to 10%. 90% people are not subscribed in that sense.
I think that's always the case for a growing channel.
Always the case. And like I also said, subscription has kind of lost its value as well in a way. But point being, there's also a metric of returning viewers and all those things. But point being that people still like to subscribe as a token of appreciation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like that like.
So it might not be as stringent of a metric as it was a few years before.
Right.
But it's still a metric that you can just use just to gauge, okay, I'm here in my YouTube journey in that sense.
As an indicator if the audience is liking what you're making or not.
Yeah, something like that. So I would say that it's important to create as many splashes in the pond as you can. Create more content, create more videos, make them good enough. Don't have to be perfect. Don't have to be perfect.
Right.
Sorry, I'm looking at Aadil because he has great ideas.
Yeah.
But he needs to be making more videos.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that now that I've started making videos again, right?
Yeah.
Now I've uploaded like 8 videos so far in the past month or so. You are so right that if you are just consistent and if you are like if you're feeding the beast regularly, things will work. How much they work is again subjective on a lot of things, but they will work. Like currently my YouTube is at some 300 subscribers. I've had consistently videos hitting 10k, and that I've had like 5 videos hit 10k now.
Nice.
Shorts, and then now that thing is slowly, like the video I uploaded yesterday hit 20k, and hopefully this will be like a log of how things go forward.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. You just need to like keep on doing it. So it's basically make more videos. Don't worry too much about subscribers. Try to make every video your best video. Then package it well and just be consistent. Right?
Yeah, I mean, 1,000 people have said this before. I'll be the 1,001st person to say it again. But it works, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing is, the algorithm is kind of tuned towards the audiences now. It's not a creator-focused algorithm. It's a audience-focused algorithm. So it will be more faithful towards the audience who's watching it rather than to you. You're not, unfortunately, that important in that sense.
Discovery is becoming more and more important. They want newer people, newer creators.
But then that also means that somebody like me, who at that point when Hanumankind hit off, I had 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Earlier it was very improbable.
Correct.
Unless somebody else picked it up.
Yeah.
In that sense. So it's, you take something away, you give something back in a way.
Actually, on that Hanumankind video, I've always wanted to ask you. I think your turnaround was very quick.
Yeah.
So, like from, let's say, you looking at Hanumankind blowing up, and I think that period was maybe like 2-3 months where he was everywhere, right? To making that video, because I remember that song went viral and then like 4 days later your video came out, right? And talk to me about that process. Like how did that happen?
Also, the song took a little time to get there, right?
Yeah. So
did the idea come before like it went viral?
I don't know what do you classify as
so
being viral?
If you
No, but
so I think it was viral from the get-go. I think from first couple of days only it hit 5 million views, which was huge for him at that point. But then it really went like
astronomical.
It went astronomical after that.
Yeah, it went throughout the world.
Yeah,
almost.
and I think before that happened, you made that video, if I'm not wrong.
I
or
mean,
maybe like while that was happening.
Yeah, maybe it coincided. The point was never about how viral it was. It was more about this thing has taken over my world.
Right.
And the turnaround time was so quick only because of the fact that there was a video that I had abandoned 2 years before about earworms. So the research was already in place.
I think VOX has a video about earworms also.
Yeah, the VOX also has. I think it's about... No, they have a series called Earworms.
Correct.
Yeah, they have a series called Earworms.
They have a video on, I think, Hans Zimmer ka one video where it's the Dunkirk track that loops and it feels like it's always going. Yeah.
Like a ramp up.
Correct.
Something sheeps or something like that. I don't remember. But I remember that I might be very much watching that series and somehow I realized that I have to make some video about this. and I had planned out a video, never really made it at that point of time. Cut to 2024, Hanumankind releases the video, and I get the idea, oh, I know why this is going this viral.
Right.
What's happening over here? What are the fundamentals being
Interesting.
used in that sense? How do I package it to Hanumankind? That was how the turnaround time was so quick
Interesting.
in that sense. Another tale of packaging would be in the other video that went well, the Apple AirPods thing. It was never meant to be about Apple AirPods. It was meant to be about headphones.
In general.
Yes, why headphones are killing your ears in a way. And I am a very terrible user of headphones. I almost always used to have them on, and I used to get these notifications, pesky notifications on my wrist every single time, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized, hey, why
Am I
is
getting
this?
so many notifications?
Yeah, what is this? Am I going deaf? Will I survive? All of those.
Yeah, the
existential
notification is don't have your earphones on for this, higher volume for a longer, extended period of time.
So that kind of created a rabbit hole. That video got delayed by a week for some reason or whatever. And then Apple announced, we are making hearing aids. So I reshot the intro.
Oh.
So if you see in that video, the intro is handled vlog ke saath. And I just packaged it around Apple AirPods. And when that happened, I realized that it fits well with the rest of the edit.
Yeah.
Because I also talk about Apple ka research in that video.
Right.
So I kind of had, just in a way derived the fact that, okay, packaging and the hook and the title thumbnail have to work together.
Right.
In a sense. So whatever I said right now, that video was the biggest contributor towards that learning in that sense. So that's how you can I have in a way manipulated packaging to fit in the narrative in that sense. And that's how you edit in general.
I think that's such an apt example. And the reason why I can appreciate it now is that now I'm working with a large creator. He has some 6-7 million subscribers, and I'm helping make his shorts, and I'm working with the guy who does strategy for him and a bunch of other large creators. And he said something very interesting. So whenever I go with an idea, right, hey, let's make a video about this, he takes that and he adds a layer of story to it. Right? So it's a personal finance creator. So I might go and say that, hey, whatever, let's say this much amount of money every day equals to a compound effect 15 years down the line, you become a millionaire, right? He will use the same idea, but he will package it as, hey, there are two brothers. One did this, one did not do this. 15 years later, this one brother was a millionaire. This one wasted his money and he spent it all. So it's the same concept, but it is packaged in such a way that it is easily consumable, right? And that when he said ki story add karo isme, somehow it just clicked for me ki okay, it makes so much sense. Why are we just talking about numbers? Where okay, people will get numbers, but it's not interesting. But the minute you put brother and sister, same person, then there's that inherent curiosity of I can relate to this. Maybe you have someone like that, or you've seen someone like that. So what is the outcome of this, right? But yeah, packaging is super important of understanding कि मैं किस angle से इसको देख रहा हूँ.
And also I would just like to add one thing. Like you said, numbers is not interesting. It's not interesting to you.
Correct.
See, there is an audience for everything.
Right.
I mean, the kind of stuff that I watch on YouTube, as absurdist as it may seem,
correct,
is insane.
Do you do research on the niche?
No.
I'm trying to make this video. I don't think you're that surgical about it.
No.
Or analytical about it. You're more gut feeling, hey, I feel like this will be good. This is the story. This is the creative angle. I want to talk about this.
100%. It's more about, I am not very serious about the whole social media thing. If things fail, things fail. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Making a business out of it is a very different thing to do. But then there are other ways than just these metrics which are not in your control to be able to use it for your business in that sense. Views are not everything for the business. You can sell your production quality. You can sell your ability to think. All of those things are valuable assets that you have control over. So in my head, social media per se is not a very serious thing. I don't take it like that. I don't understand failures in social media. But at the same time, let's say if something that I really liked, like the first video that you watched of mine, which was fear, I want to make more of that. And when that didn't work, I was like, what's the problem? Why did it not work? And I kind of realized that it's not the right material for the social media platform that I'm putting it on.
Right.
It's more Nat Geo style, Discovery style, mainstream sort of a thing. So I am not considering that as a failure for Kharab Bana Hai. It's poorly
It's
made.
a good video.
It's
Just not relevant.
it's
Not
just,
for the platform.
It's just misplaced in a way. That's what I would say.
You know, as you're saying this, I don't know if we have talked about this on the show yet. I often have this idea in my head that if YouTube did not show views similar to a Vimeo or Nebula. Do you know Nebula?
Yeah.
Do you know Nebula? You know Nebula, right? So for people who don't know, Nebula is this paywalled sort of platform for videos that is now owned by creators. Wendover Production, Thomas Frank, 2-3 other people. Tom Scott also, if I'm not wrong. And I often find myself thinking, they don't show view count, right? And if you just like, you can just go into inspect element and like hide views, right, on YouTube. Your psychology becomes so different. Like you were mentioning this, we were talking a couple of weeks back and you were like, if that video did not have 10 million views, you would not watch it.
Yeah, of course.
Because after
Which
a
video
while,
is this?
whatever, any video,
That's right.
if a video, let's say you have like one random thumbnail of a cat, right, and it's like blurry and it's not a clear picture and it has like 4 million views, you would be naturally curious to see, okay, like why does it have 4 million views?
Why 4 million?
Yeah, and I think that's a self-fulfilling cycle, right? Like you become more curious, then more people come, then more people come. It's kind of like, it's the YouTube equivalent of standing on like one railway bridge and like just peeping down. There's nothing there, but because people are peeping down, you'll also be like, "Arey, mujhe bhi dekhna hai."
True. Can I just say one thing? That is part of packaging.
Interesting.
Unfortunately. That is a part of packaging that you cannot control.
Sometimes packaging is so good.
When you see a video about, let's say, a very niche topic, how to deboard a plane efficiently, okay, and it says 800 views in 1 day. People are like, yeah, okay. But what if it says 800K in 1 day? Okay, what is the most? I have to know. That is the thing.
Why are more people interested in this?
It's a validator.
Correct.
This is good video in that sense, which is a sad thing.
Yeah.
That our society is built on validation of this kind, but it's a thing.
How do you make sure you stick to your base rules? There are my 3 rules, and how do you make sure?
Because it's just 3 rules. It's very simple. It's about execution. How are we able to execute it well enough? It's not about are we able to stick to it. I mean, like I'm 30 years old. I can stick to a few rules. It's fine. It's more about how well can I execute it? How seamlessly is the packaging
How do you
integrated?
do that?
No, I'm still trying to figure it out. It's not gonna happen. Everybody's trying to figure it out.
Correct.
It's a never-ending process.
Right.
If anybody tells you that they have figured out titles, thumbnails, and CTR or whatever, it's not true. Unfortunately, all of their videos will not have the same amount of views for all of their life cycle.
Right.
Whether it's Mr. Beast, whether it's Veritasium, whether it's us, doesn't really matter. So it's a never-ending process. You never really finish with that. And if you take that in your mind, take that up in your mind, you will realize that it's fine. You can fail a few times. You can do well a few times. Why did you do well? Try and understand. Very research-oriented way of doing things. And then reiterate all of those things.
I want to talk to you after your Hanumankind video went viral, because I think that's when you got the NordVPN sponsorship, right?
Yeah.
How was that experience of like getting sponsored for the first time, like navigating the business part of things?
Yeah. When my Hanumankind video kind of took off, I got a few sponsorship emails. Fiverr was there, NordVPN was there, Saily was there, which is of the same parent company of Nord, and there were a few more that I don't remember, but they were not very good sponsors. Never heard of them, never used them, all of those things. So I decided that either I can go with NordVPN or Fiverr in that sense. Fiverr I had never used. NordVPN I had used. So I first tried to contact NordVPN and they were telling me about, hey, we want to collaborate with you in an affiliate sense. So we'll give you affiliate links, go work with that. And we were like, yeah, can we have sponsorships instead?
Right.
That was my first instinct. And I tried to tell them ki we'll do a 5 video ka deal. It doesn't have to be very high ticketed. And I took very small amounts, like 250 euros per video, which is nothing in comparison to like what I was spending on those videos was more than that I was getting. But it was not about that. It was about being able to understand that, okay, this can be a source of livelihood also. Or something like that. And just opening up a sense of collaboration with somebody which can be a potential collaborator. When you get bigger, as you grow bigger, they also grow bigger in that sense. So that was my approach in that sense. And 250 euros per video for a company of the size of NordVPN probably was not a big headache also, that how do we deal with this?
I think it's a rounding error for them.
Yeah, it might be. And it was never about the money in that sense. It was more about feeling the fact that this is a potential line that we can go down. And it kind of ended up being good for us in a way because they were expecting around 1,000 views per video, aggregate of like 5,000 or something like that. And our second video just popped off. I don't know how many, but more than 5,000 views in the second video.
I think it got like some 300k views, 350k.
100 something. This was the third video because
180k then.
Yeah, by the time I did the Apple.
This was the accent video then.
Yeah, the accent video.
180k. Yeah.
180.
So by the time I did the Apple video thing, the deal wasn't signed. It's a very bureaucracy is a thing. It takes time, and so we were like, yeah, no problem. We knew that if it's gonna be a potential thing, then another video has to happen sometime in those 5 videos. We had that sort of a belief. That's it. And it happened in the second video of collaboration. And we were like, fine. So after that, the collaboration thing happened, but we have kind of tried to not take sponsorship for a bit because I just feel that the kind of video that we are trying to put out will not work well with the sponsor, not VPN in that case. And we tried reaching out to other sponsors. They were not as willing. It's still a small channel. It's like 14.5 thousand, 15,000 subscribers. We are still, I feel like, a little too early to be getting big deals and sponsorships. But also, I'm not the greatest salesperson. Also, so it's fine. Right now, we have runway for a few months, 5 or 6 months. We'll burn through that in whatever way possible. We will try and make as many good videos as we can in that time. If it works out, then it works out. If it doesn't, we do something else.
How big is the team now?
We are 4 people, I would say. And the thing is, everybody is still trying to learn on the job. Nobody is an expert because nobody is really getting paid to do this. Everybody just wants to make something good in that sense. I do pay a few of them, couple of them, but it's just something that they can use to just run their house, run their homes, and not have to worry about.
It's not like a guaranteed thing. I feel like that's how most great things start. Like the fact that, I say this because of my own personal experience, right? Like the fact that you have people that are seeing the same vision that you are seeing.
Yeah.
And most of them, you said, are inbound, right? Like they came to you.
Yeah.
And even like we are sitting here because I saw your video and I was like, bro, I need to talk. So there's something there that's attracting people. And I feel like I've also noticed the same thing. Like when that starts to happen, you start to see that people are willing to, let's say, compromise quite a bit and say that, hey, okay, sure, I may not be making money here, but this seems like something that's cool and fun to do. So let me just we'll figure it out. Yeah. Right?
I think that balance is very important. Right now, the problem is I have always been very art first kind of a person. So in my previous attempts at YouTube, I had always made whatever I wanted to make. I didn't care about algorithm, whatever you want to do. And no one watched it. I didn't even care if nobody watched it in that sense. I wanted to make what I wanted to make. It's as simple as that. If it takes 3.5 months to make a video about ChatGPT writing Taylor Swift songs, I'll do that. It's as simple as that. I won't make that video now because I want to be able to bring a balance into the kind of content that I'm trying to make. And that balance is, how do I make this sustainable for me, for people that are working with me in that sense? At the same time, without degrading a lot of artistic integrity.
Right.
In the kind of content that I'm trying to make as well.
How to bring the commerce into the art.
And that's always tricky.
Yeah.
Correct.
Takes a long time to learn.
Yeah.
And takes a lot of patience. That is, I would say, the most important thing.
Yeah.
Communicate well, have patience, and you'll be halfway there in that sense. For example, like even when we are collaborating on something, we might not see eye to eye on a lot of things because we are very different people who take content very differently, interpret content very differently.
Yeah.
And but his strong suits and my strong suits, like they are like a yin and yang sort of a thing.
For context animation, I are figuring out something,
how
trying to work together.
How to work together in a way.
Right.
But this is like, you know, how relationships are or how marriages are in that sense, that you have to deal with it one day at a time, one client at a time, whatever.
One problem at a time.
One problem at a time.
Yeah.
And all of those things. And take it with a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Take it with a lot of
Empathy.
And also the fact that this is how they work. This is their pillars of strength. And they will not compromise on that. Is it a deal breaker for you? Good things to have in relationships, good things to have in business partnerships as well. So just be honest, just be good communicators, and just say your mind. I remember this one incident when we were working, and I was a little taken aback by how efficient his systems are. Okay? He likes to use the word anal a lot. I don't say that. I say efficient. Okay? And he has overwhelming amounts of precision and, how do I say, organizational skills in that sense. I am very chaotically organized.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm very organized. But if you come to my apartment, I will know where everything is.
You will never
Good
know
luck
where
for you.
everything is.
If you want to find water,
Good luck.
I hope you are Jesus or Moses or something, because otherwise it's going to be difficult. I'm just exaggerating. But yeah, I understood, like, obviously, that his strength is organization, making things happen, putting the wheels in motion. My strength is not that. And he was using like some fancy corporate terms like KT and all. I'm like, excuse me, sir. One question, please. What is KT? It's knowledge transfer. And I kind of realized that, okay, this is something that I will have to take a little more patience, deal with a little more patience, because I didn't understand this world where he comes from. But we kind of, we're still figuring it out, but we found at least a middle ground wherein we're able to communicate without any things hold back in that sense. Because there was a time when I was trying to be polite. And if you've met me in real life, I am not polite. I am very
I had the first-hand experience.
Yes. Thank you very much. I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I'm not a very
You're a very straightforward person.
I don't like to mince words if I
you don't pull your punches.
really
you just
have
be like,
to.
ये
है तो है, उसमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. And following the rules is not something that I'm very good at. But how do you find a balance with somebody who is exceptional at making rules? That is the challenge.
Very interesting.
But you need both.
Yeah.
You need both.
Yeah.
You need somebody who can break the rules when needed. You need somebody who can put on the brakes when needed. Both of them are very complementary if you want to become good, big, and successful in a way. All three. So we know that there's something that is here, but how do we sort it out? How much time will it take? I've kind of got a sense of it, and I understand the fundamentals are clear that he trusts me, I trust him, and after that everything will be figured out. So you choose your battles. Trust hai, good. Everything else will be figured out in that sense. As simple as that.
I think the one thing that I've realized working with you and in general working with like more creative people, because I think we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? You are very creative and I'm like very like analytical business, like that. The one thing that I try to focus on is not to be not to obsess too much over what is not working, right? Because there'll be things that you're not good at, there'll be things that I'm not good at. I tend to obsess over them quite a bit, personally at least. Like, oh, mere se nahi ho raha, I need to do better. The impact that you get from, let's say, doubling down on your strength and increasing your strength by, let's say, like 1 point, 2 point, whatever, is exponential. But the impact you get from reducing your weakness is linear, if at all, like anything, right? So if, let's say, you are great at ideating, or let's say I'm great at ideating, you're great at packaging, you becoming better in packaging by 10% actually has like an outsized return. I'm not good at packaging. Me trying to become a little less worse in packaging has like barely any impact, right?
Yeah.
So I would much rather try to be better at what I'm doing and get you to be better at what you're doing, rather than like trying to compensate कि हाँ भाई okay मैं भी थोड़ा सा और हो जाता ताकि I can help. No, there's no point. Just do what you are doing. Try to like constantly keep on pushing the envelope there, and have people around you to just like pick up what you are not good at, and like don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think it's very important in any partnership that you have your strength and that your partner is able to amplify your strength, enable it in a way. And if that is, the partner is you yourself, so be it. For the longest of times, I thought that I cannot work with somebody else. I'm not sure if I still can, but at least I'm trying. And I'm happy with that.
Hard relate.
Yeah. It's a very simple thing.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We'll try something else. We'll figure out something else. And just being able to have the understanding that this is not a personal thing, and it's something that everybody is trying to do with their level best abilities.
You got it.
And there is something that people want to do.
Just have the appreciation for it, underlying appreciation for it. Yeah. On top of that, there will be times when tempers will run high, when people will say things that they don't mean. That is where the whole marriage aspect comes in. Key, there should be an understanding as well in those things. So it's all a bit complicated, but at the same time, you can keep it very simple to make it less complicated. Put a few metrics. Trust is good. Communication is good. Everything else will be taken care of in those sense. So, yeah. But my process is, why is it so load heavy in one day or in one slot? Because I have to observe things. My creativity, or whatever you want to call it, comes from the fact that I can sit blank at times. And I'm guessing a lot of people who create things, make art, whatever you want to call it, they have to sit blank. They have to keep
They have to be non-judgmental about what they're doing.
Be judgmental if you want to.
Acha, okay.
But just be understanding of why you are being that, or how you want to implement that judgment in a sense. Be very aware of what's happening. And that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of time just sitting on your sofa, listening to music, not doing anything, visualizing whatever you want to do. That takes a lot of time ideating. Coming up with ideas is, I sometimes come up with ideas ek sitting mein, in one sitting. Or I sometimes come up with ideas, or sometimes I don't come up with ideas in like 7 days. I have no clue what's happening in that sense. And that is what we were discussing also before, that is where a content agency differs from a technical agency in that sense. We cannot be mechanized.
Yeah.
There is very little way of creating a 9 to 5 schedule.
You cannot commoditize it.
No, there is very limited ways of industrializing the process.
And this I'm talking about creating like visual art, the things that we do in a way. But there are always things that you can do in the meantime. So you can occupy your time, you can occupy your space, make it a little more efficient. But at the same time, every creative person, most creative persons I would say, will need empty times, empty slots, empty spaces. And that is why people might think that they are just taking a break, chutti pe gaye. That's not the thing. It's very different in that sense. And that's why it becomes very load heavy on one slot or one day or whatever that is. Because I know mere dimag mein kya hai. And I know how to implement that in 6 animations. And I know how much time it will take. That has come out because I have been doing this for itna time. So that is the thing that I'm trying to say ki, I ideate in one day, then implementation might take a little more. Because that's more technical. But ideation is very creative process. Staring at a blank slate and doing something is what takes time, usually. Or it
Makes
needs
sense.
a muhurat of sort.
I think we're closing
Yeah.
towards the end of the episode. As final thoughts, what would you say to someone who is, let's say, wanting to make science journalism videos or video essays in general, and they want to be quote unquote successful, right? So I would define success as making videos that are fulfilling, good videos by our standards at least,
Right.
and that is our yardstick. I'm not saying what anyone else might think. So by our standards, like a good video, interesting video, right? What would your advice to them be, having made a bunch of videos yourself so far?
Okay, so I can tell you what we are working on and what we have worked on until now. So we've kind of realized that building a community when you're making something like this is very, very critical. And now since subscribers have taken a backseat, there needs to be other ways of building communities. So like what we're trying to do this time around is like I'm very much against the fact that anything that is informational, educational or news, information, whatever, for it to be behind a paywall. I'm very much against that. Education should be free as much as it can be, as long as teacher salaries are paid, hopefully. That's a government problem. But whatever. Without being too political, I would just like to say that since I am very hell-bent on that, in a way, I have kind of had to scratch my head over how do I make it into the community systems of YouTube. Because I don't want to create a join button where people join in and I give them, let's say, full interviews of the guests that I have. Or if I give them full factory tours from places that I've been to. How do I do that? So I've devised a way wherein people can subscribe very freely to a newsletter. In that newsletter, you will have all the things that we tackled in this video, what we thought this video was going to be, and all the full content for free. All you have to do is sign up. And if you would like to support us, we'll have the same videos available behind the paywall as well. €2 a month, whatever like that. You don't have to do it. It's available for free. But if you want to support us, there is a way.
This is a great way to show love.
We kind of realized that if you want to make this commercially viable, we need to have a community. We need to build trust. We need to create quality and good content, factual content that has been peer reviewed and all of those things, which are all very difficult things to do. And I'm pretty sure that 5 years down the line, I'll find a few videos wherein I feel, oh, this was probably not the right thing. Maybe this fact was not correct. I remember very vividly this one Tom Scott video wherein he was like, everything that I've done or I've said that is wrong in my past 10 years of YouTube. And he listed out every single mistake that there was in all of his videos factually. So the gold standard of YouTube science journalism has made mistakes. You are allowed to make mistakes, but be brave enough to correct them as and when you go on. Do not be greedy from the perspective that, oh, if I correct this, then my whole credibility is gone. That will be gone because people will figure out it's the internet anyway. So I would just suggest, if you are good enough, try focus building communities. Try focus on building communities. That's what I would say. If you want to get good enough, I'm going like one scale down now. If you want to get good enough, just make more content.
Make more splashes in the water.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
There's no other way, unfortunately. Some people are gifted. Some people look way too good to be on camera, and people will watch them more. It's a gift. Use it if you want to, whatever way you like. It'll be maybe easier for them, difficult for them. Not your fight. What you can do is make more content, make good content. If you want to understand how to get more ideas, that is one tier below how to make good content, just consume.
Consume good content.
Consume content, make original opinions, or take derived opinions and package it in a way that feels original to you. It has to be to you. It seems original to you. If you're packaging it in a way that you're trying to trick the audience that it seems original to them, you will be caught up.
Yeah.
First, convince yourself that this is an original thing, and then you will automatically package it in a way that feels original, feels your voice in a way. And what's below finding ideas? Just start.
I'll say one thing here. I feel like in science journalism, I've noticed a full spectrum, right? There are William Osman type of, like, a little crazy, wacko type people, right? Boy is similar. then you have a lot more structured and respectable and mainstream science journalists in Vox, Tom Scott, Veritasium, all these people. And I feel like we lie somewhere in the middle there.
Right.
The one thing that everyone has in common is taste.
Hmm.
There is consistent taste. And I think
original opinion, as he mentioned.
Yeah.
that
You
comes
guys
with
always
taste.
have like this, yeah.
Your
Yeah,
taste,
that comes with taste.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you can't have original taste if you can't have original opinions.
Then the question becomes, how do you build that taste, right? Because we've had a lot of conversations on this. You meet a lot of people, especially when they're young, when they don't know how to build their taste, right? And I've thought on this a lot, and the conclusion that I've come to is it comes down to conviction. And what I mean is you need to have conviction in your identity. Because taste stems from you knowing yourself and knowing what you want. Because only when you know what you want, you will know what you don't want. Oftentimes people have, like, their locus of identity is external. Like, they are not being run by themselves. They are being run by, what is happening outside? Maximize is doing really well, so let me do Maximize. Maximize is good. Maximize is like an Instagram trend that went viral last year.
Right.
It can also be something like what I was doing when I was younger, is trying to become another Casey Neistat.
Right.
Externalizing my identity
Right.
in the form of somebody else that I idolize.
I think when you're starting out, it's okay. Like
100%.
in your 0 to 10 videos, and I think in content, you should not, like, experience should not be a unit of time. Time is nothing. It should be a unit of video. How many videos have you made, right? Like, for whatever we are talking about, I think you are far more experienced than me personally. I've only made, like, personally videos with my face on it, less than 100, maybe like 50, right? That's nothing. Maybe not 50, more than 50, but that's nothing, right? Less than 100, like 70, 60, 70 videos. That's a drop in the bucket, right? So I think to build taste, you need to know first yourself. Like, and you figure it out. You're okay to experiment. Make Magnets Media type style. Everyone was obsessed with Magnets Media in the last 6 months. Make Vox type of videos. Make whatever. But after a point, everything, like Virgil Abloh had this famous rule called the 3% rule. The question is that how do you make unique things? You take something that's already existing and you change it by 3%. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Copy and change by 3%.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that is an iterative process, and you do it enough, you get to a point where you have created your own Frankenstein's monster. Right? You've created your own thing that is like truly you. And somehow I find too many people not doing that. Right? Like they get too stuck in ki acha ye acha hai, mere ko yahi banana hai.
No, but it's not instant gratification, no?
Yeah.
Correct. That also.
The problem is, it's the same as like you go to a place where a lot of Instagram people have made that place famous for, let's say, Benedosa. I went yesterday over there.
CTR.
No,
Taza Tindi.
Acha, that's what it is.
And I was like, yeah, I want to try. I went with my friend, very young, 22. He saw the queue and he was like, Lagna hai kya line mein? Do we have to get in the line for this? Because it's not instant.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll have to wait
Yeah.
and experience all the whole people getting their dosa, and you have to fight your way to get your own dosa.
Right.
I should say dosa. Yes, I've
Dosa.
learned that very recently. Yes. But in any case, I feel that challenge of avoiding instant gratification in a world where we're being constantly fed with instant gratification is going to be quite tough. When I was 21, 22, I did not understand myself very well to be able to have any sort of conviction about myself.
Interesting.
It's too young. By 25, your brain hasn't developed well. So legitimately, yeah.
Yeah,
How do you deal with that? So the thing is, I know you said that time is not that critical, but in this aspect, I would say, just wait. Just do whatever you want, in whatever form that you want. Eventually, you will find your Frankenstein monster, whatever it is. But if you want instant success, and that's what you're gonna be just pushing for, gunning for, then it's gonna get quite bad quite quickly in that sense, because a lot of people have kind of just stuck to that sort of a mediocrity. I call it mediocrity because I think people are capable of so much more if they just exercise a little bit the 3% thing. But I feel people just need to wait it out a little bit in time, just have trust in the process, trust in time that you will find your conviction, whatever you want to do, all of those things.
There's also like a Japanese way of approaching this, and I'm not sure if I'm like 100% right on this, but the first 10 years of your career goes in just building the conviction of doing it. The next 10 years, you just surrender yourself to the master. Just follow exactly what he's doing. Try to figure out all the processes that is there to understanding a craft. And the next 10 years is when you sort of build with your master. You are doing it with him and sort of trying to do whatever he's doing, sort of replicating it in your process. And then comes the time when you actually do what you feel is the right thing to do.
Right. Man, I'm not somebody who's a stickler for systems anyway. I appreciate this, but the thing is that I had no master in a way.
Correct.
What do I do in that case? Because when I was doing those vlogs, that I'd never published, I could see that I was trying to emulate somebody, and I didn't like that. So I had that sort of a thing in my head at that age also, that I don't like this fake skateboarding sort of a thing, what I'm doing over here.
Correct.
Do people have that at 23 anymore? I don't know. I did not have a master at that point of time. I figured my way out anyway, combining few things here and there. So, like I said, it's one way of doing things. Great. If you are somebody who likes systems, go follow this. It's not the only way. Again, art is very subjective. Visuals are very subjective.
Yeah.
You can find multiple ways of being successful. The internet is big enough to find your audience for you.
Yeah.
It's just about, are you patient enough? Have you gotten good enough? And all of those things.
Correct. Cool. Anything else? Is that the pod?
Yeah.
I think that's the pod. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this was, I have spoken probably a little longer than what I would have wanted.
No, it's okay.
problem.